Hi, good day, everybody. My name is Valandra Jno, and I am presenter number two, presenting on the country of Bangladesh. My objectives as presenter number two is to highlight the major industries of Bangladesh, to explain the structure of of power distance in Bangladesh, and to also explain the proxemics of Bangladesh. One of the major industries of Bangladesh is the textile and garment industry. And Bangladesh has the largest textile industry in the world, and it is such a huge export industry, especially for Bangladesh, that it actually accounts for 80% of exports for Bangladesh, which means textile and garment is one of the leading sources of income in terms of exports for Bangladesh. It is also the second largest textile exporter after China, and this industry actually employs up to 3.5 million people. Another major industry of Bangladesh is the farming industry. Bangladesh produces numerous crops, includes tomatoes, jute, tea, rice, pulses, even tobacco. However, the main produce or the main crop that is produced is rice. And that is because of their fertile soil, which allows them to harvest rice at least three times a year. One of the main objectives of the government of Bangladesh is to fulfill its population's food requirements, which is why a lot of emphasis and money goes into farming and helping farmers. Another main industry of Bangladesh is the shipbuilding industry, and the shipbuilding industry has actually been around for many years. However, it has increased significantly because of the interest in the types of ships Bangladesh builds. So, as compared to Japan, China, and South Korea, who creates large vessels or large ships, Bangladesh creates smaller ships or smaller vessels. And because of that, people who are looking to buy, or countries who are looking to buy small ships, usually go ahead and buy it from Bangladesh, as they're actually the main producers of small ships. Since then, Bangladesh has actually had 200 shipbuilding companies. Another major industry of Bangladesh is the tourism industry, and this industry has been booming because of the great sites that this country has and how much they have invested in the tourism industry. As a matter of fact, in 2013, the tourism industry in Bangladesh generated $1.2 million in direct jobs from the previous year alone. And then, in addition to that, the country of Bangladesh also generated 1.5 million in indirect jobs. So, jobs that are not directly related to tourism was also being influenced by tourism and helping these other jobs, indirect jobs or indirect industries, to grow significantly. Another great fact about Bangladesh tourism industry is that they were ranked country 157 out of 178 countries worldwide for great tourist sites. So here is a graph that shows the contribution of travel and tourism to employment generation. So as you can see, the deep blue represents direct jobs, and the light blue grayish color represents indirect jobs, and the green represents induced jobs that is created due to the contribution of travel and tourism in Bangladesh. As you can see, in 2013 and 2014, the numbers or the percentages are relatively the same or slightly increased. However, you do see a huge increase projected for the year 2024. So here we have completed our first objective, which was to highlight the major industries of Bangladesh, and now we're going to go into our second objective, which is explain the power distance structure in Bangladesh. Power distance can actually be looked at or described as the attitude towards inequality within a country. And Bangladesh actually scores a score of 80% on this dimension. And what this tells us about Bangladesh is that people accept a hierarchical order in which everybody has a place and which needs no further explanation or further justification for why it is the way that it is. And this actually creates large gaps in compensation, authority, and respect within a certain country. This slide shows the difference in terms of power distance in Bangladesh versus the United States. As you can clearly see, the United States power distance score is 40. So the views and perspectives of people in the United States would be that they want inequality minimized as much as possible. Now we're going on to our last objective, which is proxemics. Personal space in Bangladesh is less of an issue because, as compared to European cultures, that is because they have a high population and the people there are actually used to being crowded and being, so close to each other. And they have no issues whatsoever standing up close to each other, especially if it's someone from the same gender. And so on. So touch would be likely or common. In addition to that, if it is of the opposite sex, then you will need to distance yourself and to avoid prolonged eye contact. So this comes to the end of my presentation. We have done all our objectives, and now I'm going to pass the presentation on onto the third slide to my teammate, Colin Pierce.